Welcome to Biology for You. In this video, we are going to discuss DNA extraction methods. In this series of videos, we have been discussing different processes in genetic engineering. So, for doing any genetic engineering process or even for many molecular biology experiments, the first step will be DNA extraction from the organism. So here we are going to discuss how do we isolate the DNA or extract the DNA. So generally there are basically three methods in DNA extraction which are widely used. So one is chloroform phenol method. Second one is Calyx method. And third one is solid phase extraction method. So, in the chloroform phenol method, we are going to use this chloroform phenol organic solution to isolate the DNA. And in the Calyx method, we are going to use this Calyx. Calyx is basically a resin which acts as a chelating agent. So, this chelating agent able to chelate the all remaining cellular components from the cell except the DNA. So here in the Calyx method, this DNA will be separated and all remaining cellular components will be chelated, and that is how DNA will be isolated. In the solid phase extraction method, that is here, and in the solid phase extraction method, the solid will be used for absorbing the DNA, so that DNA will go and attach with the solid phase, and thereby the DNA separation will be carried. In this video, we are going to discuss this chloroform phenol method only, because this is widely applied method and it is comparatively simple, and the product, that is DNA, will be in pure form. So this chloroform phenol method is mostly adopted in many molecular biology laboratories. So here we are going to discuss chloroform phenol method of DNA extraction. So using this chloroform phenol method, we can isolate the DNA from either from plant or animal cells, or maybe from the bacteria. The bacteria DNA could be genomic DNA or plasmid DNA. Here in this session, we are going to discuss DNA extraction from the bacteria, and that is also the genomic DNA extraction from the bacteria using chloroform phenol method. Basically, the chloroform phenol, the principle will be the same for all extraction methods, from plant, maybe from animal. For all these things, the extraction method, the principle is to use this chloroform phenol only, but based on their structural complexities, the methodology will be different. And even for this method which we are going to discuss now, that could be adopted as per the laboratory conditions and the samples. So here we are going to discuss What are the major and common steps involved in the DNA extraction from the bacteria using this chloroform phenol method? So first let us discuss how how the bacteria looks, that means the structural aspects of the bacteria. So here are bacteria having a thick cell wall. Generally many bacteria having cell wall. Beneath that there will be a cell membrane. This cell membrane is made up of proteins and lipids embedded in it. And beneath that there will be a genomic DNA which will be generally suspended in the cytoplasm, and the remaining cell components. All remaining cell components and cytoplasmic elements along with some plasmid DNAs. Here in this method we are going to isolate this genomic DNA from all these cell components, so that first we need to break the cell wall, disrupt the cell membrane, so that the genomic DNA including all these cell components will come out into the solution. So let us consider it as a reaction tube in which all these reactions are taking place, and here by disrupting the cell membranes and breaking the cell walls, the whole cell lysis process makes the DNA to come out into the solution. So the solution is now containing the DNA suspended and the cell debris, some of the biomolecules and cell components suspended along with the DNA. So here we need to extract the DNA out of the remaining cell components and cell debris and remaining biomolecules. So that is going to be next step, DNA extraction. So our DNA need to be isolated and separated from the remaining things present in the reaction tube. So that is the DNA extraction. So once after you extract the DNA, you need to purify it. That means we need to go for purification to remove any possible salts or detergents that we are used in this process of DNA extraction. So that is the purification step. So that is going to be third step. So towards the end of procedure we are going to get the DNA in its pure form. So that is the whole process. So as we discussed, there are three steps. In the first step there will be cell lysis, and the second step will be DNA extraction, and third step is the purification. So during the cell lysis, we are going to treat these bacterial cells with DNA extraction buffer, so that the cell walls will be broken, the cell membrane will be disrupted, and proteins will be denatured. And in the DNA extraction process, that is second step, we are going to remove the proteins that are degraded, and the cell components all are degraded and they will be separated from the DNA. So here in this process we can separate the DNA from remaining all cell components. And towards the third step, here in the second step, DNA extraction, we are going to use chloroform and phenol. And during the third step, that is purification, generally ethanol is the major ingredient which is used to purify the DNA. So let us go into the details of the procedure. So here in the first step, that is cell lysis. During this cell lysis, there will be treatment with DNA extraction buffer, as we already discussed. But previous to that, generally will be started with the entire process will be started with the bacterial culture, right? So this bacterial culture, let it be a agar plate containing bacteria, bacterial colonies here and there, or maybe a broth, liquid broth containing suspended cells in it. So we can take anything, but we cannot directly use this culture because the older cultures are rich in secondary metabolites. These secondary metabolites may inactivate many chemical reactions that are going to take place during this whole extraction process. So here we need to go for fresh cultures. So here we need to inoculate some of the colonies or cells into new culture, fresh culture media. So here we generally take liquid cultures only. So we need to inoculate the older cultures into fresh medium, fresh culture liquid medium. So here liquid medium helps the cells to isolate easily. If we go with the agar plates, it is very difficult to separate the cells from the solidified media. So here we need to go for liquid cultures. Once after we made fresh cultures, first we need to centrifuge at least 1 ml of the liquid culture, so that after centrifugation there will be cell pellet. This cell pellet is rich in cells, bacterial cells. So we can take this cell pellet to further treatments. So to this cell pellet we are going to add DNA extraction buffer. So here we need to know what is the function of each and every chemical that we are going to use in the DNA extraction buffer. So generally the major ingredients in the DNA extraction buffer will be tris salt, second EDTA, third SDS, and NaCl, and maybe proteinase K, RNase A. So here we are going to use tris salt. This tris salt is basically used for buffering action. That means throughout the process, all these chemical reactions with the DNA may cause physical damage because of the pH, rapid changes in the pH and the temperature changes and all. So we need to protect our DNA before we get isolated. So for that we are going to add tris salt. This tris has the activity to maintain the pH, that is a buffer, so it maintains the pH. So pH related damages for the DNA can be omitted. And coming to the second one, that is EDTA. EDTA stands for ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. So here this EDTA acts as a chelating agent. Here it chelates the magnesium ions. So here it chelates the magnesium ions from the solution, so that many enzymes will be deactivated. The enzymes like DNases will be deactivated. So by deactivating the DNases, we can protect DNA from degrading again. So that is the function of EDTA. Coming to the next ingredient, that is SDS, sodium dodecyl sulfate. This sodium dodecyl sulfate is used to to make it acts as a detergent basically, and it disrupts the cell membranes by penetrating into them. It mainly acts with the lipids in the cell membrane. So hence by it disrupt the cell membranes. So that is the function, disrupting the cell membranes. So here NaCl is used to again make a shell out of the DNA so that it increases the solubility of the DNA in the aqueous solution, and it also neutralizes the charge around the DNA. So here NaCl is a salt which can easily form ions. So these ions, positive ions, can neutralize the negative charges around the DNA, and it forms like a shell structure, so that this DNA will be linear, will not be supercoiled, but the DNA will be in linear form, protected form. So that is the function of NaCl. Coming to the proteinase K, as we can just by seeing the name indicates it is an enzyme which degrades the proteins, and this K stands for keratin. This keratin is a hair protein. That means this proteinase K is active against the even degrading the hard proteins like keratin. So here this proteinase K is used to degrade the proteins present in the solution. Coming to the RNase A, this RNase A again degrades the RNA present in the solution. So these are the functions of different chemicals used in the DNA extraction buffer. Here this tris is used to maintain the buffer. EDTA is a chelating agent which chelates the Mg2 plus ions so that DNases will be deactivated. Here STS is a detergent, disrupts the membranes, and NaCl is a salt which neutralizes the charge around the DNA, and it forms a solvation shell, and proteinase K degrades the proteins, RNase A degrades the RNA. So these are the main components present in the DNA extraction buffer. Here by treating it with the DNA buffer, the pellet obtained from the cell culture will be treated with DNA extraction buffer, incubate for a while, and we will be going with the hot water treatment. We will keep these reaction tubes in the water bath generally. So here the RNA enzyme is stable at high temperatures, but DNases are mostly thermolabile. So at this high temperatures DNases will be deactivated, and RNases will remains active, so that RNAs will be degraded. DNAs on the other hand, DNA will be protected. So that is how the DNA extraction buffer works, and it disrupts the it lyses the cell. Coming to the next process, that is chloroform phenol treatment. So during the second process, that is DNA extraction from the remaining components, we are going to give phenol, chloroform, isoamyl alcohol. Alcohol treatment. So here the phenol proportion will be 25 and chloroform will be 24, and isoamyl alcohol proportion will be only 1. So here the major ingredient is phenol, and this phenol is effective against the proteins, and the work of phenol, it's an organic solution, and this phenol take care of the degradation of the proteins. And coming to the chloroform. Chloroform is also very dense organic solution, so that by adding this chloroform phenol and isoamyl alcohol to the DNA extraction buffer treated cells, that means in the previous process we had the cells treated with DNA extraction buffer, and to this we are going to add this phenol, chloroform and isoamyl alcohol solution, so that this is aqueous solution basically. So the all components in the DNA extraction buffer will be in aqueous state, and this is organic solution, and it is mostly used to degrade the proteins. So here by adding this organic solution and mixing it well, in the later stages there will be phase separation. That means the aqueous solution will reach at the top of the reaction tube, and the organic solution will remain at the bottom of the reaction tube. So here this phase separation is very much useful to isolate our DNA, because based on the differential solubility properties of the proteins and DNA, we are going to separate the DNA. Here the DNA is soluble in aqueous form, aqueous liquid, and the proteins, degraded proteins, will be precipitated, degraded and precipitated, and they will reach the middle part of the reaction tube, and the cell debris, which is heavier and denser, will reach the bottom layer of the reaction tube. So for this phase separation, organic phase and aqueous phase, this kind of phase separation is possible because we are going to use this chloroform. So because of this high density, it helps us to separate the phases, organic phase and aqueous phases. And this isoamyl alcohol is also aids the phenol and chloroform activities. That means this isoamyl alcohol stops the emulsification, that means mixing up of the aqueous and the organic layers. So here by treating with this phenol, chloroform and isoamyl alcohol, we are going to have this phase separation. The upper part is aqueous phase, which contains the DNA. The middle part is protein precipitated layer, and lower part is organic layer, and towards the bottom we can find cell debris. So this is how the phenol chloroform treatment will be work. And coming to the last process, that is purification. So once after we treat our cells with this phenol, chloroform and isoamyl alcohol, already we have cell lysis in the previous step, and during this step we are going to have the separation of biomolecules. Even the DNA will be separated. So here once after this treatment has given, we are going to separate this aqueous phase into new test tube, new reaction tube. But so here in this reaction tube we are going to have aqueous liquid containing DNA, but not in a pure form. So in the next step we need to purify the DNA. We need to go for purification. Generally, this DNA which is isolated in this step will be contaminated with maybe some different salts, detergents that we are used in the this separation process. So we need to purify the DNA and precipitate it because it is in dissolved form, aqueous form. So we need to precipitate it and purify it. So here we are going to use this ammonium acetate. This ammonium acetate increases the ionic strength of the solution so that the DNA will be easily precipitated. So this is similar to the salting out procedure. So here it increases the ionic strength. That means this not only ammonium acetate, any divalent salt can be used here to increase the ionic strength of the solution so that the DNA will automatically or easily precipitated in the following steps. So here after this ammonium acetate treatment we are going to give isopropanol. This isopropanol work is to increase the affinity of the DNA towards the ethanol that will be added in the last step. So ethanol, which is the major ingredient in the purification, will be added to the DNA. So here ethanol breaks the solvation shell around the DNA so that DNA will be no more soluble in the aqueous solution, so that the DNA will be precipitated and it forms very thin thread like structures in the aqueous solution, which can be visualized with naked eye, and just by centrifugation we can make a pellet of DNA, pure form of DNA. So that is how we isolate the DNA. So the last and final thing we need to learn here is how do we store the DNA. So for that, for long-term storage of the DNA, generally we use TE buffer. So this is TRIS and EDTA buffer. As we already discussed, the function of TRIS is to maintain the pH so that the DNA present in this TRIS EDTA buffer will remain stable and it will not be damaged by the pH related damages, rapid pH changes. The DNA will not be damaged because of this TRIS. And EDTA is a chelatic agent, so that the DNA, by using this TE buffer, we can store DNA for longer time. And we can also store in the distilled water for short term uses. So that is how the whole DNA extraction procedure from the bacteria will be carried. And here we only discuss the genomic DNA extraction from the bacteria using this chloroform phenol method. So hope you understand, and thanks for watching.